All right, everyone. This is the first recording of the Wolf Den. This is your boy, Wolfgang Division, aka Simon Rayner. First stream, first broadcast. I'm a little bit new at this, so I apologize for all the delay. But I'd like to thank everyone who does watch this, and I'd like to thank my guest for this show, Mr. Hot Fuzz. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, thank you. It's
Thank
a pleasure to be featured as your guest for the debut installment of the Wolf Den.
dude, it's the day. It's a bit rough and feathered at the moment. It's not. I wouldn't even call it a den. Just a bit of a burrow yet, because the
Yeah,
definition of a wolf den is something that's deep underground and something where you can tuck in and be safe. But and luckily, right now I'm holding the fuzz's hand basically because he's helped me through all this in the last like 5 minutes. So I have to say, much obliged, boss. Like you've been
literally.
my hero. You've been my hero so far.
There's a bit of panic typing in the span of 5 minutes, is how we've come to this, how
Well,
we've
the
made it
thing,
here.
well, the thing is, I'm not being funny. I don't mind the whole just go straight live thing without the no countdown out because that countdown is so crap on YouTube. Like, dun,
Yeah.
dun, and everyone's got it, so like,
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind just going live.
it's the free countdown. It's like everything else you have to have made or get made or make yourself or something. And I'm useless at that sort of stuff. So I'm sorry to everyone that whenever I stick it on my lives, it's just like this heavy based generic beat music that everyone's just sick and tired of, and it just spirals into infinite depression. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to give myself a bit of a countdown so I know when to start and when to go into motion. But
Yeah, I know,
it
I
is
know
what
what
it
you
is.
mean. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. It's one of those ones, isn't it? It's just one of those ones.
Yeah.
But we are here. As long as I know, as far as I know, everything's working fine. It says live in the corner, and I haven't broken anything.
Yeah.
So, sir, welcome to the Wolf Den. This is a chat show, obviously, about football, general subjects. I like MMA
Hmm.
as well, but I'll come into it next week. I'll go into that later on. But, sir, tell me,
Mm.
how are you feeling about football right now? Because it's a bit muddy for both of us, isn't it?
Yeah, it is long out here. It is so freaking long, and we're literally only 5 games into the season, and I'm pretty sure both of us just want the season to end and just go into an infinitely long summer. But then again, it's kind of hard for me as well going into a summer because it's like you have to watch some bunch of bankers try and figure out how, like,
Yeah,
how do you plug this in to open meeting with other club?
Oh,
How do we pick up phone, make call, place bid? How do we do this? It's like so long. It's like your football is painful to watch.
yeah.
The summer transfer windows are painful to follow. There's no break if you're a
Oh,
United supporter.
I tell you what, we couldn't be more polar opposites when it comes to our transfer windows, could we? We've bought too many players that we can't really
Yeah,
use properly yet, and you guys haven't bought enough. Very polar opposite,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
but we,
100%.
but we got like, but at least you got a striker. But we're
Wow.
gonna get into that because we didn't even get that. Like we got an injured guy and a Jackson,
Mm,
who is good. No, let me have a go at him, but he is
mm.
very young. But anyway,
He's finding his feet.
he is a young man, and he has to get into it. So I'll give him time. But let's dive straight into this.
Mm,
Manchester United.
mm.
What is your expectations for this year after these last 5 games?
A very long season, a very, very, very long season. Like there's a lot of, especially at the start before a ball's being kicked, a lot of anticipation, like a lot of prediction over how well are you going to do, like where you're going to struggle, where's your drop points coming from. And then you witness it. You're like, well, I can realistically see us losing to this team here and that team in that part of the calendar year and in that part of the season. Like you can pick and choose where you know you're going to struggle. Then you go into the first game, you struggle there, you're lucky to get away with it. Second game, you deservedly get slapped up by a cock of North London. You're then lucky to actually string something together to actually beat Nottingham Forest coming from 2 goals down in the opening 4 minutes.
Was there
And
hope
then
at
you,
that point? When you came back about Forest, was that kind of viewed might be as a turning point, and suddenly it's still going in the
I
same way?
was, I was hoping that it was a turning point because we started that game off opening 4 minutes, I'll tell you what, Yeti comes into my chat. It's just like, we'll score one more goal than you. And then it just all went to shit for Yeti. But literally, there was hopes, little takeaways from that game where it's like, okay, well, you can string something together, a semblance of a good performance. And
Yeah.
that's a little bit of something to go into the next game. The next game was Arsenal away. And you thinking, cool, tough game, tough place to go to, but look at their problems they've got. Look at their managerial dilemma over how he's starting his teams, how he's lining
Yeah.
up his
Yeah.
squads, and all of that. Look at the dropped intensity that they've had from last year to now. This is an Arsenal team to be got at. You know,
Mm.
like take it to them and stick it on them. Every team that they played against has either been not quite doing enough to warrant taking something away from those games, or unfortunate to have not converted some of the big chances that they've had. That's an Arsenal team that are fragile. That's an Arsenal team you can get at. So I was thinking, right, go there, just do a job, do a good job, and you'll be fine. I predicted before the game. Now it'll probably be a 2-1, just knowing United on a realistic basis, or a balanced, even basis. But I was sort of feeling a bit of optimism. I'm like, cool, yeah, no, this Arsenal team can be got at. We can work something here. But first half happened, wasn't great viewing. Obviously,
So going into that Arsenal game, did you actually see that as an opportunity for Man United to exploit them?
at that
In your
time,
own,
yeah,
in your own personal view, may I ask why did you think that? Explain a bit, because don't get me wrong, I can sort of see where you're coming from, but your mind is your mind. So please elaborate on that a little bit.
well, I think it's before. I think probably before the Nottingham Forest game had kicked off, a lot of people were thinking, right, so if we struggle against Nottingham Forest or we don't beat Nottingham, like we might as well just concede the whole game before we've even kicked a ball against Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like the start of that week, everyone's feeling, a bit jaded that we've got Arsenal coming next. The week goes by, day by day, like the perception, I can see a lot of perception starting to change a little bit. A lot of Arsenal fans are not speaking so highly about their team as you get closer to that game. So I'm thinking, right, so the mood's dropping from the Arsenal side. They're not feeling as good about things. There's a lot of worries going on there. And United fans are sort of thinking, okay, well, we can feed into that. We can tap into that. And maybe, a, a good comeback win to beat Nottingham Forest 3-2. I know it's only Nottingham Forest. Then again, it's a game of how you won that game is enough to play in your mind a bit. There's enough to spur on a bit of, confidence, a bit of momentum to say, oh, cool, well, we came from a troublesome situation. We got into a good position. We won that game. So let's take those positives and add it to building together a good performance, a professional performance against Arsenal, who look a bit, shaky at times in games. So it's there. It's the occasion, time to step up. And usually those sorts of games, you just step up as a default anyway. So it's like, cool. So if there's a time to beat this Arsenal team at their ground, it's now. So let's go do it.
Well, the funny thing is, I'll tell you what, Fuzz, what makes me laugh is like for an Arsenal Man United fixture, I can't believe how low key the last one was compared to like, how it has been. Because normally, I don't know about anybody else, but normally, like back, maybe us being a bit more old school, me being a bit more old school, is Man United Arsenal was one of the first fixtures you look for, and you used to look at the calendar. So one thing about Man United, I have to say that out of all the Man United Arsenal games I've seen, that's probably where Man United fans have been the gloomiest. Considering that normally, even like the old 8-2 was normally enough to like pep you guys up, but with the way you guys' season started, I don't think not too dissimilar to ours, because we're very disjointed. Because you guys, I don't know how many injuries you guys have got now, but I know you got no left back.
We got Sergio Reguilon, Reguilon, who's here for a year, and then he's screwing off back to Tottenham.
Well, yeah, that's what I was about to say. I'm feeling that touch of death from Tottenham right now as well because of our manager, but that's another conversation. I'll bring that up maybe in a little while. Danny says PSG are 1-0 up against Dortmund. Mbappe, the Ninja Turtle, scored a penalty. Well done to Mbappe. I can't watch
Danny.
I can't watch Champions League football right now. It's too painful, man. It's too painful. I'm sitting in the bottom half of the table.
Yeah,
So,
we're both sitting there.
and it does.
We're literally just one place difference. You're 1 point behind us. We're
Yeah.
on 6 points. You're on 5. You're,
Football
you're,
doesn't exist to me. Not right now.
no,
When we creep back into the
you're
top half.
you're catching up with us. You know,
Yeah.
we're flying off ahead on 6 points. You're catching up. You're trying your best to keep up with us on them 5 points.
It's funny because aren't Newcastle, Manchester United, and Chelsea all in the bottom 10 at the moment?
I'm pretty sure they are. Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry, that's early season. But anyway, getting back into it, get back into United. So,
Yeah.
Arsenal have beaten you. Do you think the scoreline flattered them?
I'd probably say that whether it's fortunate or not that they got those 2 goals at the end,
Because you got that Garnacho offside as well. That was a paint hair. Literally, that was a paint
yeah.
hair.
I think the problem really is that 3-1 I felt at the time was deserved. And I sort of feel like it was deserved, even now, because it's like both of those goals came in additional time. That's like, if you're level pegging at that point, there's no other time in the game that you focus like more than that little period of extra time. And you've just had an offside goal. So it's like, well, cool. If you stay alert, stay on top of things, you could work another chance in the additional time. It's possible, you could do. But one thing you don't do is lose your concentration and just stop playing. And that's exactly what we did, because when that cross goes in from the corner kick to Declan Rice, who's unmarked back post, not one person went to close him down. And that's the thing. Usually, if it's someone just taking the shot on the volley, you'd think, oh, damn, well, there's no chance for anyone to stop that. Declan Rice took a chest control, brought it down to his feet, sort of
Shot.
shimmied slightly, and then shot. In that time, Johnny Evans has come halfway across the box to come to challenging where there's an Arsenal player. So he's tussling with an Arsenal player at that point. Maguire and Wan-Bissaka were both there, sitting one behind the other, staring at them. Not even not moving, not going anywhere, literally staring at them. You know how players like to do that?
It's zone of marking, isn't
it? Jump on the spot, guys, jump on the spot, make it look like you're ready for something.
Ready for nothing.
They just sit there doing absolutely jack shit with the game, and they don't even look over their right shoulder to see where there's a space between them and the near post.
Right, yeah.
But they're completely mentally switched off. So I just felt like, well, you just stopped playing at that point, and it was evident.
And am I not mistaken? Rice is probably one of Arsenal's biggest players as well, if I'm not mistaken. He's quite a big guy, isn't he?
It's one of their taller. Yeah, he's one of their tallest.
Because I'm not being funny. I would have thought on set pieces, Declan Rice, Thomas Partey, people like that would have been the first people you're looking for. But you know, what do we know? But anyway, it happened. It moved on, and you had another fixture. Tell me about your last fixture as a Man United fan. How did that go for you?
Well, come back from international duty, we're sort of like, okay, right, let's get things back on track, guys. Who are we playing next? You're playing Brighton. Oh, fuck. Okay.
Not the best team to come back to, is it? On international break. Flying.
Do you know what? Going into this game, there was no real belief. There was no real confidence. I didn't see anybody, not once did I see any United fan that I see on socials anywhere at all say, we're going to beat Brighton. Not one.
I understand.
So we go into that game, and it's like everyone's shocked. It's like even Sky Sports with their match highlights in their videos, like, oh, Brighton stunned Man United. Not one United fan agrees. They didn't stun us. They just gave us what we expected.
Yeah, that was the Sky Sports narrative. That's rubbish. No one believed anyone who's real. By the way, I will say that right now. Anyone who was part of this YouTube community of Jez, me, Fuzz, etc., etc., we don't buy any of that Sky Sports nonsense. So we're always saying that obviously Brighton were going into this the stronger. I thought they were the favourites going in because everyone was going to say 2-0, 3-1, and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But for Brighton to be going to Man United so confident and Man United to be lacking it so much.
Well, I'll tell you what, the first 20 minutes of the game, thereabouts, was actually all right. We looked like we had a game plan. We started a different way than what De Zerbi
Yeah,
was
you stuffed them.
expecting us to.
Practically, yeah, you stopped them.
We started the way that we should be starting the game. On top, controlling the game, creating your opportunities, creating your chances. De Zerbi's a little bit caught off guard. He makes one like tactical switch, changes the way his team's approaching the game. They get a goal against a run of play. What you don't expect to happen is when a team concedes a goal, that they concede the control of the game. Usually, they try to flip the momentum by pressing high, pushing into the comfort zones of Brighton and to make things uncomfortable, or whoever it is has scored against them. Flip the momentum, try and get a fast reply, try and get the quick reply. We conceded the control of the game and just said, okay, well, we've conceded the goal. Right, see you guys. Yeah, go have the ball. No, don't worry about it. Yeah, enjoy. Have fun for the next 70 minutes. It's all yours. Old Trafford's yours. Here's the keys as well. Do you want the United team bus keys as well? Yeah, you can have that as well. You can take that
Use
back.
our locker room, no problem.
Yeah, you see that? You see that Sir Alex Ferguson stand, mate? Sir De Zerbi stands that we can unveil that for you. It's like they owns the place.
That's too much courtesy, isn't it?
They
That's way too much courtesy.
they just owned the place. That first goal goes and that's it. Game over. we didn't even look competitive after that, and that's.
What do you think after that first goal winning from Brighton? That was it. That was just you guys got put.
Yep.
That was just that.
Curtains.
Oh.
Game over. And that's the thing. One goal gets conceded. One very, very typical thing for this particular crop of players is that the heads drop. They stop believing and they stop working to actually have an impact on their game. So
fragile confidence, isn't it?
Yeah,
just
fragile standards, low standards. They don't have the winners. They don't think like winners. They don't think like, well, you get a hammer blow, cool. Well, sure, we'll go score 2 goals then. That's fine.
Well,
we score 1, we score 2.
Well, regards to your next fixture, who's your next fixture against?
I think it's Burnley away. I think. I have to double check that. Well, in the league, it's Burnley away. We've got Bayern Munich away tomorrow, so that will probably just be us getting piped in.
I was gonna come to the Champions League, but I was gonna hold that off until about 10 minutes. In about 10 minutes or so. But before we go to, because you've mentioned it, let me just quickly flip to Chelsea for a minute. We played a Bournemouth side at home over the weekend. Now, if any of the football team play ping pong football without actually going anywhere, it's Chelsea Football Club. I can honestly say from 80% of the pitch, we are one of the prettiest teams to watch. But when you get to the final third, we are one of the ugliest teams to watch. Before I ask your opinion, I'll just give mine briefly. I think we need a lot more of our players to come back to full fitness, like the Brojas and stuff like that. Give me your take on it, my man. What did you think about that game?
I had the option to watching one of the 2 Super Sunday fixtures, and I was contemplating very strongly, I should watch the Bournemouth-Chelsea game because that game could serve up some surprises. I'm so glad that I didn't. Because I remember tuning in.
It was.
I remember tuning into Matisse's stream, like Matisse, MAH. I think it's just Mar. I think that's just how he pronounced it. But I remember just tuning into his stream for a bit. I was just like, okay, how bad is this? Because usually a 0-0 for Chelsea just means that they can't score to save their lives, and it was exactly that. The depression was written all over his face in about 50 different languages. It's one of those things where it's like the sins of last season are coming back to haunt you. But what surprises me is that even Frank Lampard took a more, say, disjointed Chelsea team to Bournemouth away and still got a result there. So now we've got Pochettino with essentially a much younger Chelsea squad. Similar sort of mentality as to last season in the approach to games. Like you'll create a lot of chances for the stat sheets, right? But none of them are really clear cut and actually say, oh my God, if it's a different day, that shot goes in. If it's a
Yeah,
different
yeah,
day, the
you're right.
goalkeeper doesn't save that. There's a lot of these half chances that no one really believes that Chelsea are going to score from, but
All
they just
nearlies.
have.
All
Yeah,
nearlies.
either that or Mudryk gets the biggest hit in the world.
Oh
He kicks the
God!
ball,
Don't
and it's
mention Mudryk to
closer
me, please.
to scoring an own goal than he is actually shooting at the goal. That's 5 yards in front of him. Like,
Right.
man, I couldn't believe that shot that I saw.
You know what sums up Mudryk for me, and I was discussing this with Yeti yesterday, and it really
Mm,
winds me up. We sold Callum Hudson-Odoi to Nottingham Forest for
mm.
3.5 million and signed Mudryk
Yep.
for 80 million. And look what Callum Hudson-Odoi did. Yes, that's one of the reasons why I held off doing this stream today, because I wanted to see what Hudson-Odoi would do at Forest, and he scored that wonderful shot from outside the box, and I'm thinking 3.5
What
million.
could have been? What
It's
could
not
have
even
been?
not even what could have been. I'm like stable enough in myself to accept the fact that we've sold him for 3.5 million and bought Woodrick for like 80. But it still don't mean I'm not going to be like, oh my
Mm.
god, that could have been he could have been doing that for us against Bournemouth on the left hand side.
Yeah, it
That's
could
what
have been
annoyed me.
that shot that he scored from could have been a shot in a Chelsea shirt that wins you that game 1-0 against Bournemouth. Like,
But 3.5 million though for Forest. This guy was touted by Bayern Munich and Real Madrid 2 seasons ago, and it's just like,
yeah.
how did he go from 60 to 3.5 million in 3 seasons? Like, that's
Mm,
mad. But then again,
mm,
like, that's brohy. That's a conversation for another time. But
yeah.
yeah, I do think you're absolutely spot on. We are disjointed when it comes to that. I think it's the fact it's just too many young players. Too many young players.
The policy that I've heard it, Eunice talks about it. He spoke about the Chelsea policy that the transfer policy for the summer, is that don't sign anybody under the age of 20, over the age of 25. And I'm thinking, what kind of policy is that where
Is
you put
that
an age cap on it? That's never happened before.
well, it's men against boys?
Even Brighton, when they go out and they're just like, oh, recruit some of these lesser known kids, and it's like, oh yeah, it's super cool transfer policy. They bring in the James Milner. They at one point brought in Adam Lallana. All of these sorts of players, even Dahoud. Dahoud, I think he's like 27, 28 years of age or something like that. And some of these experience to tie in to balance out the experience with an inexperienced player in that squad. So it's like there's leadership there, and there's a sort of like comfort as a younger player to know that if there's like troubles in a game or a game's tough to play in, you look over your shoulder and you're backed up by some mad experienced players. I mean, James Milner is Champions League, Premier League winner. I know he's not
Yeah,
the greatest
spot
player
on.
technically, but
No,
it's
but you're
all
right.
up
He has
here.
experience. Yeah,
He's
that's
got it
what
all up
matters.
there.
The know-how, definitely, 100%.
So just having that experience in the squad really just, I think, amplifies a bit of that sort of mental strength to a younger player's game, that you'll start to see a lot more technical qualities coming out from the younger players, because it's like when you've got that comfort zone, that your atmosphere of your dressing rooms filled with some experienced like players that have seen it all, done it all, played it all. It brings it all together. It brings a harmony together and finds balance between the older players and younger players. I mean,
The gel, so to speak. It's the gel. Yeah.
Thiago Silva, all well and good, but he's kind of on an island at the moment. Got Raheem Sterling at the other end. Guy's probably never spoken up in the dressing room in his life. He doesn't look like he cuts that sort of figure. And it's like, look at the rest of the team. Where is the leadership figure there? Where's the guy that's been to the wars and back? Who's the guy that's walked up to Hell's Gate and has stared the devil in the eyes? Like, who's there that is a younger, like, who do the younger players look at and say, that guy, yeah, now I know we've got him in the team.
Well, they're getting the time in the trenches now, mate.
Yeah,
It's
they're
a
learning
birth.
the hard. They're going to have to
Exactly.
learn
It's
the
a
hard
birth.
way.
That's exactly how I see it. And that's the thing. A lot of people have got, because I was talking to another Oregon Gooner,
Mm.
someone we both happen to know, and I'm quite fond of. And he said to me, Wolfie, like, you've spent $1 billion. Do you think you'll challenge for the league? And I said, no, I don't think we'll challenge for the league. And he was like, what? Really? Why not? You spent a billion, like £1 billion, and he was like, and
Mm,
I said to him, well, that's true, but when you're signing people for the majority under the age of like 23 below, that, like exactly how you said, you
mm,
lack that experience in bigger games. You lack that know-how in certain situations where you can adapt your game. And obviously,
yeah.
everyone needs it, because even if you had just like two or three of them, because like when we were playing against Bournemouth, I swear, wasn't Raheem Sterling our only outfield player above the age of 25 until Ben Chilwell came on later on.
Mm.
So it
I mean,
was.
that speaks volumes as well. Like Ben Chilwell's your captain. I mean, like,
Yeah,
mm,
yeah. Um, Champions League winner, man.
uh,
Yeah.
well, in that case, I mean, what is it? Bring John O'Shea back at his ripe old age.
Uh, uh,
He can
you brought
captain this
Johnny
United
Evans
side.
back. You
Yeah,
brought Johnny Evans back.
yeah.
I don't.
Premier League winner, give him the captain's armband, man.
One $500 million the flower pot men with Harry Maguire.
Bring back Tom Cleverley. Tom Cleverley. Stick him in that midfield. We won't lose a game again.
Oh dear. Bring
The
back Tom
quad, the
Cleverley.
quad is still on, people. The quad is
There
still
he
on.
is. We were
Just
just mentioning.
sign.
Speaking of devil, look at his
Hey,
psychic.
hey.
Oregon
DVS,
Gooner.
DVS,
Yes.
DVS.
Yeah,
Good to
we
see you,
just
mate.
mentioned you, Dale. We just mentioned you. Big up, big up. Anyway, going back to it. Right, was there any other performances in any other fixtures that for you standed out? Fuzzy
From
delusional.
um,
He's all right. He's all right. He's all right. He's all right. He's on my show. He's. I'll big up. I'll stand by Fuzz every day. You leave my guest alone. You stop attacking
that's
him.
a ban and chat for you,
I
mate.
know. Like
Ban and chat.
he got kicked in the sin bin by Yeti the other day. You see that? He kicked him out of the stream. That was hilarious.
Stuck him. Sit it out, mate. You take that temperature down. But yeah, to answer your question, what was it? The other performances
Yeah. What
of the
other
weekend.
performances in all the fixtures that stood out for you? Then we'll go into the Champions League because obviously you mentioned it a minute ago, and I know you're looking forward to it.
Oh wow, Jesus, what? In terms of other games from the weekend, from Premier League, Tottenham surprised me
Mm.
because I remember sitting at work. I was working at the time whilst that game was going on, and I was checking like 70 minutes to go or something. Oh, Tottenham, they're still losing. They're still losing. We might be able to share the tears of
Yeah.
dropping points this weekend. Literally, after the game, go to check the score, just as I finish work, see it's 2-1. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sakes, why? Why? Every team that was set up to lose didn't lose. Like, why? Why can I not have fellow Tottenham fans, Arsenal fans, City fans, Liverpool fans? Why can't they all just cry with me? Like, I want shared tears here. I don't want to be alone in this. I don't want to be just holding the L's for the for the, for this
Yeah. Yeah.
country all
We don't want to be a
together.
laughing stock no more, please. We don't want to be a laughing
Oh,
stock anymore.
We've been we've been suffering for 10 years now. We've gone a decade without winning a Premier League. We want some respite. Let us win the league this season. We'll shut up. We won't even do a trophy parade for it. We'll just give us the league, and we'll just go away into that
Sneak back
quiet night.
quietly. Yeah, just sneak back quietly. Oh well, take it. Well, you guys said it straight away. He's still going to sneak in away. Bayern Munich.
I think there was a post on Twitter that Troll Football made, where it's literally a mock-up Man United Twitter account telling Bayern, can you just inform UEFA that you can get the 3 points because we're not even going to get on the plane. We're not going to bother. Have some 3 points there. And it's probably, to be honest, it'll probably do us a favour if we were to forfeit the game because it's a default 3-0 loss. It'll do us better for goal difference in the group.
Do you think they will do that?
Well, they've got the makings to do it. I mean, Harry Kane doesn't need a super tiki-taka system to score hat tricks. Can pull a hat trick out of his arse for as much as he cares.
Mm-hmm.
You've got goal scorers in multiple other positions, but not just goal scorers. You've got players. I don't know if Joshua Kimmich is going to be fit for this game, but even so, I mean, the rest of their team, they've got players that you need to put in a good performance if you're going to beat them, even on a not so bright day in Bavaria. But even so, it's like this is United with a crappy mentality, loser mentality, standards that go so far into the ground they might as well be parked up in China. You've got what is it? Bloody all of this away form stuff. Like, oh well, we're better at home. Well, yeah, we're going away first game, and it's off the back of getting slapped up by some seagulls at Old Trafford, and now you're going to go and get mauled by Bayern Munich in the Allianz Arena. We're going to be sitting there, right? You're going to be by the end of the night. Mark my words, you're going to be sick and tired of bloody can music because you're going to be hearing that song go and repeat so
I
many
know what you
times
mean.
that night.
Yeah, I know. Every time they score in it, yeah, I know. But you never know. You never know. Me personally, I'll just say the ball is round right now. You got to see what happens. I know it's not looking good and it feels bleak. But have you got an idea? Like, who would you start in that game? What would be your 11 if you did play it?
Well, we know Onana's probably guaranteed goalkeeper choice. Probably Serge Reguilon's going to play at left back. Wan-Bissaka's now out for 2 months, so that's bloody fantastic. So now we are literally threadbare. So that guarantees Deleu's playing on right back position. Varane's back in training, but I don't think he's going to be risked. So it's probably going to be Martinez and Lindelof at centre back partnership. Probably Casemiro. Mason Mount's back, unfortunately. I'd like him to just break his ankle just stepping on some
Money moose.
Yeah, pretty much. You can have them back if you want.
I'd like to apologise to you on behalf of Chelsea Football Club and to Arsenal fans as well for Kaka Fartsy. But my sincerest apologies. I know a lot of these fans, so I actually feel for them. You have my deepest apologies.
But yeah, no sign of Amrabat either because he's injured. So you talk about you signing players that are injured. We signed pretty much everybody that is injured, barring obviously Mount and Mount got injured straight away. Waiting for an Onana injury, but he's disappearing to AFCON. But I think it's probably going to be a Casemiro, Ericsson midfield again, or God forbid Scott McTominay plays. I mean, there's no good option here. There really is no good option.
Yeah,
It's
I
either
know,
a guy. It's either a guy that's Mr. Invisible, right? Literally, it's like Queen wrote a song for Scott McTominay. It's called "I'm the Invisible Man." And lo and behold, every time he steps on a football pitch, he just miraculously fades away.
disappears. Yeah, I know what you mean.
And so I think probably Bruno's going to play in ahead of whoever the two midfielders are behind him. As far as playing on the right-hand side, probably going to be, well, I hope it's Palestri. I hope it's Garnacho playing on the left-hand side and Rasmus Højlund up top because I cannot be having a greedy Marcus Rashford that plays only for himself on a football pitch when you need to, you need to make some big chances and take some big chances.
Yeah.
And Marcus Rashford, he does not look to make no big chances. If he gets fed the big opportunities, I think there's no doubt, in your minds, yeah, sure, he probably score a goal or two, but everyone else disabled straight away. I mean, Rasmus Højlund in the Brighton game had 0 shots, graveyard shift. Rashford had multiple opportunities to feed him an easy pass for a free shot on goal with no markers on him.
And he just didn't see it.
Well, he didn't get his head up. He doesn't look for the pass. And that's the thing that is reoccurring in Rashford's career. He doesn't get his head up. He doesn't use his head. He doesn't use footballing IQ. He sort of, once he's got the ball, his head's down and just running down a straight tunnel
Bit
until
like
he gets a goal.
Bit like Jackson for us. He's just, when he gets the ball, he's got one thing in mind. He's going towards goal, and that's it. Now, with me, that's the thing where I think with my team regard when it comes to that kind of play is where we've suffered with Nkuku's injury. Because when we were pre-season, when we had Jackson, Mudryk, and Cuckoo and all that feeding off with each other. You could see the little triangles they would play with each other. They would do 1-2s with each other. They would feed off with each other. When the
Yeah.
Cuckoo got injured, that stopped because
Mm.
you only had because it was like the base behind them had gone. If you know what I mean, like it was the
Yeah.
little diamond and literally the base behind them had gone. So literally now that Jackson's making these runs, people are not seeing him.
Yeah.
And that's because creatively, even though we have got some decent wingers, we haven't really got that much of a spark in the midfield. I thought sure
Mm.
Menka did well against West Ham, even scored. Then he literally 10 minutes
Mm.
after he scored, he got injured. So we were suffering in that same regard. I have to sympathise on
Mm.
that with the lack of the creativity, the vision. It's just not there. It's just
Yeah.
not there. Do you think Rashford with Hoyland would be better as a two up front instead of like playing like with a sort of winger system?
Well, I think with a front two, you sort of need the sort of give and go type of partnership to go with that. Someone who holds the ball, feeds it in on the turn, and vice versa. That the other can do the same. One to hold up play, and the other one to complement in different ways. I
Mm.
think with Rashford, where he's got stature, he's like has he got the skill ability to beat a man off the dribble? He's got potential to doing it. Like we've seen it once or twice, him actually doing it. Beating a player or humiliating a player off of a dribble. But it's just the footballing IQ on that guy. I don't trust him to make right decisions that will create the opportunity, the key chance that in a game. He won't create the golden opportunities, and I don't think he will get into the best positions to receiving a big chance pass to get a clear sight on goal. I mean, as far as last season's concerned, with Marcus Rashford with his very high goals contribution, um, I thought a lot of it was consistent of cutting inside and shooting from distance with Rashford. A lot of it was coming in off the left and dribbling it into spaces. But now he's doing the same thing, but it's not working for him. So it looks a lot worse. And with Marcus Rashford scoring all of these goals, the rest of the team's goals were drying up. So
Mm.
that's why I think it's better dropping Rashford and putting someone in there. That's first priority is actually building the play up and trying to create some form of
Well,
connection
who
with the
would you
other
put there
players.
then? It's not Rashford.
Garnacho, the guy looks much more like he wants to play to what Ten Hag wants him to do, whereas Rashford is much more, "I'll go express yourself" type of thing.
Mm.
Garnacho, he uses his right foot for passing as well as shooting. Like we've seen a couple of looping passes to the back post. Fantastic execution there. He'll use his left foot as well, not as much, but he he tries different things. And I think what Garnacho does well is he's constantly looking out for where the fullback is
Mm.
with
Yeah.
his support player. Like he does constantly look out for where that player is, and if the moment calls for it, he'll lay off the ball. And that's
Yes,
another thing.
yeah, I agree. He has
Serge
that awareness
Reguilon,
that Rashford don't. Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Serge Reguilon got into a few good positions on the overlap from Rashford. Rashford again, not heads up, doesn't look for the pass. So you could create chances from your fullback on the overlap or with the runs in behind into blind spots, but you're not. Rashford doesn't look for him, so you can't make that chance. Whereas Garnacho, he probably does.
Mm. Right. Well, the only way you can do is to find out is to try him. I do hear what
Mm.
you're saying because I do appreciate that because for me Rashford he's kind of changed because he was a left-sided player. Then when Ten Hag came in, he became more of a central sort of player. And to be honest, I think he's kind of gone towards that role and stayed with it. He's tried to become a goal scorer. Because how many did he
Mm.
get for you last season? Was it 25, 30 goals?
Well, I think in all competitions it was something like 40, 40 goals and assists in
In all
all
comps.
competitions.
Well, there
Yeah,
you go. You might have to taste for it now. He's not looking. He's maybe not looking to pass anymore. He's maybe looking at goal, thinking, "I want to get in there and get me some."
yeah. Well,
But
it doesn't work with his comments to the press when he says, "Oh well, I kind of prefer it out on the left." Okay, then so play like a left winger.
well,
Ask your manager,
yeah, yeah,
what do you
yeah.
want? What do you want from me on the left hand side, and I'll do it.
What do you think he's playing him more as an inside forward than as a winger? Because obviously, if you play Ganacho from the way you're talking, it's definitely like you want him more as a creative winger than you want
Yeah.
an inside forward. So
Well, that's the thing. We need. creativity in the team, because one thing we don't do is create clear-cut chances, because a lot of the time it's Hail Mary from the wingers like Anthony and Rashford. They'll get the ball and straight away they see the goal. They don't see the goal so much. They see the 18-yard box line and they're just like, they get a sugar rush high and they're just like, fuck it. Thunder.
My team is the same.
I
My
was
team,
about to,
my team. Yeah,
about to
I know,
say
I know, I
true
know, I know.
Geordie. True Geordie term. If you know, you know what that is.
Yeah,
The
I
thunder.
know, but he's controversial, man. I don't want him ruining my channel already. Like man got caught doing bare nastiness, and then at the end of it said like and subscribe. Like I was just like,
Yeah.
excuse me. Yeah, all right. Like, but
Man
yeah.
was a genuine Newcastle content creator, and then he sold out for the bag, mate.
Well, look, if people want to do things for themselves and make money or whatever else, but all I'll simply say about True Geordie is do something that makes sense, dude.
Mm.
That's all I'll say. But quick shout out to Mama Flossie in the chat as well. Hello,
Big ups,
Mama.
Mama.
How are you? Hope you're having a good evening. The Newcastle got away with a draw, for what I understand. What are the Champions League scores? Let me just quickly, everyone who's watching Champions League update, let's have a quick browse. Oh, wow. Barcelona 5-0 up. Yeah, they're smashing it. Feyenoord beating Celtic 2-0. Lazio being beaten by Atletico Madrid 1-0. Man City 3-1 up, no surprise there. Porto beating Shakhtar. PSG. Oh, Porto 3-1 up. And obviously PSG are 2-0 up against Dortmund. Young boys. Oh, got beaten by Leipzig. What a surprise. I wonder if Werner scored. Oh, no, he didn't. Oh, no, Benjamin Sisko did, though. I like that guy. I'll keep an eye on that for him. Talent in the future. Remember that. Wolfgang said that. Benjamin Sisko, the guy that plays for RB Leipzig, he's a good striker. He's going to be like a little, do you remember Dreco? I think he's going to be like Dreco. Yeah, he's going to be like that sort of type of player. He's a good boy. I'm going to keep an eye on him because I've got an eye for players in Europe. But right, going back to our convoy. So, what do you think Man United need going forward now? Because obviously you've got problems, just like my team has. What are the solutions in your opinion?
I say the whole fan base stop supporting Man United and go and support FC United and Manchester. We'll go take the whole fan base over there. Start from scratch. Like everything's finished. The Glazer ownership is
that bad?
Well, the Glazer ownership is clapped. The board underneath them are clapped. The employees that work at Carrington clapped. The manager, according to 90% of the fan base now, or most of the fan base, more so than not, clapped. Players in the squad clapped. And mentality at all of those levels I've just mentioned clapped. No one.
So it's literally abandoned ship. Literally abandoned ship. Abandoned ship.
That's the thing. I reckon this is going to only go one way. I think it's only going to get worse. Because it's a toxicity that's dripping from the top down, and it's plaguing every single level. And this is the thing. I made a video on it earlier today about Ten Hag in, Ten Hag out debate, and I'm just like, it's completely irrelevant. There's no point to even entertaining that debate because everyone's thinking, well, if we get a new manager in who knows how to play football, we'll be better off. We get the new manager. Everyone's like, he knows how to play football. One season later, oh, this football's crap. Oh, now this manager's making silly decisions. Oh, we want this manager gone. The one common denominator in all of this is the board and the ownership never changes. Managers always changing. True. Different backgrounds, different philosophies, different
factor is the ownership.
Different ethics, different work like processes or styles of play. Always the same problems cost the managers the job. Same problems. The problem doesn't change, but the faces do. You've got to stop going back to the same thing of, well, it's all the manager's fault. So we got to off the manager, right? Get rid of the manager. We'll get another one in, and we can go win the Champions League, the Premier League, and all of that stuff. I'm like, that's not how it works because they will come in, player power that's rife at this club is being enabled by the bosses. So it's like the manager comes in straight away. Someone will be there to undermine him on day one. I know what you mean.
It's the same thing we've got with Poch. Everyone knows this guy's been given an extremely young squad, average age of about 22. But because they're not old enough, like we were talking about earlier, like about the experience to get through certain situations. Oh, this guy needs to be sacked. He's not good enough. Like it's the Poch Spurs curse. It's just like, no offense, like you need to, because with football, too much of it's about hype and not enough of it about fact. Because
Mm,
because if you say, for example, you just did some beautiful points about United, about how the board the board toxicity fills down to the team,
mm.
and added to the fact that obviously what's been happening. I don't want to go into detail about what's been happening with Man United's playing the players, because that does not interest me in the slightest. I care about football, not off the field antics. But what I will say is, with obviously being it with Sacho, with Anthony, and only just happening with Greenwald as well. Do you feel that that is just a prime example of the toxicity that the Glazers have brought to this club? And do you think in some way they should take responsibility for it, or do you think it's all to do
Um,
with Ten Hag?
for me, like there's, like I get that a lot of people will say, well, look, it's man management, this and man management that. Ten Hag, oh, he doesn't make this decision and he doesn't make that decision, therefore he's a bit of a coward, like he's not got no balls to him. But it's like
Mm,
these are players that have undermined every manager. Like we give Mourinho credit for how big balls that guy was, and we credit him because he's like, oh well, he speak it as it is, takes no BS.
it was Jose,
But
man. Jose.
same players, or some of the players back then, the same toxicity was undermining Jose Mourinho and were having communications with Mourinho's boss. So your boss's boss, you're like, well, I don't like this guy. I'm going to talk to his boss. I'm going to
Straight
go
over his head, yeah.
past,
Straight over his
and
head, yeah, of course,
and
yeah.
that's the thing, because brand Chester United cares more about guaranteeing the club the buck. So if a brand starts to get a bit upset by a manager asking too much of him or doing
Mm.
something that don't make much sense to him, he's going to go, oh, shut John or Murta or Richard Arnold or Ed Woodward at the time. Like, I'm not happy with the manager doing this or doing that. So straight away, that the undermining of managers is very prevalent. So I think it's like with Sancho's situation, like a lot of people have taken their perception on the situation to the absolute extremities, like bringing racism into this as well. With like, well, I think describing Ten Hag's interaction with Sancho as racist is completely just bang out of order and wrong. I think some of the
Mm.
media's perceptions on Sancho and it's like being critical on his character is probably racially motivated because Raheem Sterling had it, so we know that some of the media's do that. But for me,
They need to sell stories, mate. They'll do anything they can to generate it. That's the
yeah,
problem.
and that this
Fact
is
and
the thing.
fiction are the one and the same.
Yeah, 100%. And for me, it's like undermining the managers is just it's a it's a it's a guarantee with this club at the moment, and it's just the sooner that the people with the power actually start to think, well, we've got to make the best environment possible. Give the right people the power. The player power stops instantly because the power from the player's perspective comes up and challenges it straight away. Slapped. Have a backhand. They'll leave the Carrington offices with one cheek blood red, right, from a solid backhand, hopefully from Sheikh Jassim or someone from his consortium if they take over. Um, and that's the thing. When you fix the upstairs, the enablers are gone, and what you do start to enable are what the club actually needs. So then toxicity can actually finally you pull the plug on it, and it all starts to drain out. As far as the Greenwood and Anthony situations, like politics outside of football, like for non-footballing matters, for me, it's not just the situations themselves that I'm sort of like tying to Manchester United here. I'm tying the club and how they're handling the situations to this, because that like most clubs act right. Right, we've this situation's happened. This is what we're doing. Right, it's swift. People, whether they agree with it or not, it's swift and it's decisive. Richard Arnold for Greenwood had made a decision that backfired. Half the club threatened to walk out. The employees for Richard Arnold threatened to walk out, and then he had to be spineless Arnold and sell himself and his credibility down the river by saying, "Oh, sorry guys, I was just joking about that. We'll go back on it. We'll suspend him, and he'll
Yeah, I
be
know what you mean, mate.
banned and banished from the
It's
squad."
it's too much dibble dallying, isn't it, mate? It's just way too much.
And it's like, and this is the funny thing with this is that a lot of these people who want Ten Hag sacked, that guy, yeah, that's screwed up the Greenwood situation or messed around with it, who's spineless, who I believe it's not that he doesn't make good or bad decisions, it's that he doesn't make any decisions, right? He's not a decision maker. He's got all the power and he's not a decision maker. That's troublesome. That guy, you're trusting him to go and find a suitable replacement to tick your boxes. Are you sure about that? You absolutely sure you can trust in that? Can you put your faith in that? This same like we've had a media report today say Richard Arnold and Joel Glazer said no to Harry Kane because they're concerned about his age. I can't say that
What is that
that's
true?
I
No
can't say
way.
that I can't say that it isn't true because that sounds like a Richard Arnold / Joel Glazer statement. Like that sounds like a
Wow.
conversation they had because that's the
I'm
same
not sure.
thing. Those same stories were coming out with Ed Woodward and Joel Glazer years before, where we've had those sorts of conversations, and these players disappear off to different clubs, and it's like, John Murtough got his orders from the hierarchy to say, well, look, Harry Kane, we don't think he's worth it. So then John Murtough goes, okay, cool. Well, Eric, as much as you want Harry Kane, we're not going to get him because he's too old. Fuck off. Bayern Munich got him, and look at what he's doing over there. He's scoring goals. He's
Well,
having some impact. So there you go. So people
well,
who have no idea about football are running politics. Well, people who are spineless are running politics, and people who don't know about football are running football. Can't get much worse than that.
well, if you want my take on it, if that's true what you've just said, that they didn't sign Harry Kane because of his age, and that was the only reason, I'm pretty sure everyone that I know, you know, yourself, and everyone in the
Mm,
chat could probably be like, "What the hell?" But you know,
mm,
like, because he's I know a lot of people would just see him as the guy that takes United to the title, but maybe look in hindsight, maybe that's not true because you guys have got way more problems now. It's just a striker, like you said,
mm,
like the whole squad's disjointed. And going back to my team, obviously, because I got to talk about this because it's a Chelsea channel. Big up the
mm.
Chelsea, but um, but we've got a similar problem. Is we had too many. You know what? Yeah, okay. Tell me if you agree with this analogy. Are both of our teams are like Lego sets?
Mm.
We're trying to build a house out of the Lego set. In your case, you've got too many too little pieces. In our case, we've got too many pieces, and it's about trying to scramble out a bit of like what's going on because, like you said about I wouldn't say our owners are toxic, but they're definitely interfering, kids.
Mm.
Definitely, there's like when you look at some of the signings because that's the one thing about this Chelsea project I don't quite understand is you've signed 30 kids, 30 youngsters, and like obviously maybe 10 or 15 of them, maybe 20 of them will get into the team, but the others are only there to be sold afterwards or loaned out
Mm.
because that's how Chelsea we always roll with doing that by selling out
Mm.
loanees and stuff like that. But I do feel that it's going to be one of those ones where both of us, it's going to be a year or so before we're back up to scratch, and it's going to be like
Mm.
gunfight, OK Corral type stuff for us because it's just not pretty because we have to fight for everything.
Mm.
Everything at the moment, even a draw, my team has to fight for against Bournemouth.
You need to fight to score a goal.
Well, I actually wish we had the players to score a goal because one thing I like about Pochball is you get nice, neat little build up. But being obviously a bit of a Chelsea fan and classic, like I was always used to having that little target man and say Drogba or Costa or someone
Mm.
up front looking ready to smash the ball in the back of it because they used to bully defenders. And there's just simply not anyone in the classic Chelsea tradition, if you like. There's just no one there at the club
Mm.
that can do that. I think Brohy, maybe when he's 24, 25, bulks up,
Mm.
gets a few goals under his seat, like under his belt, gets maybe a
Oh,
10 or
bro,
15
yeah.
hours. Yeah, bro, yeah, the Armenian international, because he's quite a big set dude. And when he was
Yeah.
playing for West Ham, he was actually using that physical side to his game and barging everyone out of the way. I think maybe we can unlock him a little bit this season. Maybe we might be a little
Mm.
bit better than what we are, but basically we need experience.
Yeah, that was Southampton when he was on loan there. He was playing up in the top top two, Armando Broja, and I think who was it? Was it Che Adams or something?
I think it might have been Che Adams. Or was it Rodriguez? Was it Che
And
Rodriguez?
I think Jay Rodriguez was there.
It was Che Rodriguez. I can't remember.
Yeah, I
I'm,
think
trying, I'm trying to block it out, to be honest.
yeah. Don't want to know PTSD from some clapped times, but
That's why I always chuckle about Kai Havertz, man.
uh,
Whenever I feel bad, I just look at Arsenal and think they bought Kai Havertz for 65
yeah,
million. Yeah. Oh well, could be worse.
£365 million. Yeah, I think with Chelsea or Todd Bowley, I felt like when he started spending in year one, like when he's trying to make an impact, straight away I was thinking this guy's got this gun ho approach like Ed Woodward used to have in approach to player acquisitions, but there's no cap to or limit to his spending. And I think a lot of people jumped on the hype train to say, well, look at Chelsea. Oh, look at how much they're spending. Look at all the players they're bringing in. Oh, watch out. Chelsea could be favourites for a title here. They could be dark horses in the title race or something. And I'm like, chill. I think this is going to backfire because Manchester United are case in point that spending big does not guarantee you success.
No, of course not.
Look at all of the big signings we've made and look at where they are now. Paul Pogba's career is practically finished. Lukaku's hated by everybody. Angel Di Maria is playing for Benfica. He was probably the only one that we bought for bigger money.
Did you guys waste Angel Di Maria for such a quality footballer and you never really got anything out of him?
Oh, well, I mean, I think it was Louis van Gaal at the time with his philosophy, crab football or wok football. Where it's just like
wait, did you just say crab football?
Crab football, yeah, side to side.
All right, fair enough.
Side to side, maybe a little bit forwards, maybe.
I've heard to say for sabs to side, but I've never heard anyone quite drop it as crab football. I like that one. I might steal that one off you, actually.
Crab football, side to side, but no penetration, and that was Louis van Gaal's philosophy. That's what he wanted. That's literally.
Yes, we go for second. Yes,
yes, we go
Rooney,
for
the captain. I tell you what, he did do some great speeches, didn't he?
called a guy fat in a press conference, just like you're too fat, man. It's like honestly, Louis van Gaal's fantastic, but even now, I mean, he speaks facts about the club. It's like he basically said when we hired Eric Ten Hag, it's like, mate, you're not going to find success there, buddy, because that's not a football club you're going to.
Yeah.
I mean, we said, oh, shut it, Louis, shut it. You're just bitter. Well, is his comments bitter now?
No.
His comments bitter now?
LVD, he's ex-Barcelona manager as well, man. This guy's... I know a lot of Man United fans don't really like... Well, some do, some don't, but they don't really rate him. But LVD is one of those guys where he was supposed to be he was the Dutch manager as well. He was supposed to be kind of like a cert. Just like how Jose was seen as kind of like at Spurs. He was supposed to be that guy that would bring you back up. But, Jose got them to a cup final and they sacked him. And then you guys, he won you a trophy, then you lot sacked him. Do you think LVG should have been given another season on that, what you just said? In hindsight, this is just a question.
Possibly. I mean, again, it's sort of like going back to the board, because the board that, to be honest, like hindsight, it makes it feel like, well, should we have given managers extra time when they were pretty much done? Because I think it was less about like how the fans felt about these managers, but rather the backroom politics between like manager, players, and the board up above. Because back then, no one really had focus on the board, so a lot of the atrocities that we hear about now were just completely skimmed over by a lot of fans back then. So we all villainised the managers at that point. I mean, Moyes villainised, Mourinho villainised, LVG villainised. Obviously, they made things look quite bad with like some crazy decisions. It's like Scott McTominay for Mourinho, brought him West Ham away. We lost the game 3-1, and Scott McTominay was started at centre back and Mangan's literally contributed to 2 of West Ham's goals, and we're just like, what is he doing? What is he doing? But it's like, then it's at the same time he said that second place with this other team that he had, the greatest achievement in the Premier League, and we're just like, this guy's completely lost the plot. But it's, again, now we're fast forward to now, hindsight, it all makes sense. But now we're sort of facing another situation with Ten Hag. It's like, are we going back to LVG days, or are we going to actually now show that we've learned something?
Go
That
forward.
it's not the manager's fault that we are in this situation. He's not making the best of a bad situation, like, because sometimes you can help some of these like crazy decisions. You can like avoid making complicated mistakes or something like that. Of course, you can do that, but are we going to sit here and say that it's all the manager's fault? It's like I've heard someone already say on a TalkSport interview when they call in, these fans call in, someone's already said, "Oh, it's not the Glazers' fault." You absolute deluded prick! It's not the Glazers' fault. Sorry, it's like we've got. I swear there are hired guns in our fan base that literally go and spout the praises of the Glazers when they get a buck to come their way. Like someone pays them to go and call into TalkSport or go onto these media fronts and start talking about stuff where it's pro Glazer and say, "Oh, it's not the Glazers' fault." Oh, look, the Glazers spent $1 billion. Correction, they haven't spent any money. Club
No,
generated revenues have contributed 100% to all the money spent on transfers. But also,
that's
here's
true.
another damning indictment. Based off of what I'd seen around debt payments, the Glazers put us in debt because they brought us on the debt, and then they transferred the responsibility of said debt to the club.
Yeah, I heard about
But
that. About it was like $1 billion, wasn't it?
yeah, the debts had amounted up to $1 billion. We have been paying off those debts since 2005, and we've probably spent near £1 billion worth of debt serving. So we could have had $1 billion to spend in other areas towards, club
That
investments.
that catapults you up to like Real Madrid levels, isn't it? Because who could you have bought for $1 billion, especially over the last 20 years?
Yeah,
Mad, isn't it? Crazy. Anyway, we're gonna slowly wrap this up in a minute because obviously it's been an hour and my arm's beginning to hurt. I will do longer streams when I'm back up to 100%. I really rate Rashford. I think he could be guided by a top coach to become top left 3 winger in the world. Danny says. Man United managers after Fergie have been the same. The club has zero structure. Mama Flossie says true Geordie is a Macklin. He's not a Geordie. Fair enough. And I will never argue with the mama.
nah.
Never argue. But anyway, Hard Fuzz, my friend, shout out yourself, man. Big up yourself. Tell me
Yeah.
what's going on. What's going on your channel, please?
I have no upload schedule. Sorry, guys. I can't tell you when or where I'm doing uploads or doing live streams. Usually, if it's a live stream, it's later in the day. If it's an upload, that can happen at any time. But because I'm not running to a schedule, it's literally just whenever it happens, it happens. But I'll usually try to put something out every single day at least. But yeah, you can find me on HotFuzz44, at HotFuzz44OG. You can find me on Instagram as well, at HotFuzz44OG again. Same logo as you'll find with my YouTube channel to my Instagram. So it's quite easy to find me on the social platforms. But again, big ups to Wolfgang over here, the MVP of the channel, being the 100th, the official 100th subscriber to my channel. So
Yeah.
massive shout outs to you, mate. Thank you
You
very,
know, I
very
was
much
going
for
to
that.
mention that. I was going to say, like, that's the one thing I'm about to say. I've got a lot of love for you as well because you shouted me out as his 100th subscriber, not lover. Let me be clear about that.
I wish I had that many lovers. But
I don't, man. Have you seen the way people are nowadays? That's a lot of drama and a lot of headache.
yeah,
Nice one, Wolf. You speak on good on stream. Oh, thanks, dude. Much appreciated. But
big ups, Danny.
yeah. Big up to Danny. Big up to Mama Flossie. I hope Jez would pop in here at some point as well because he just messaged me on Insta saying, "How do I find you?" But obviously, no one can find me. So there you go. Always the next time. I'll get him involved next time. But yeah.
Yeah,
With my channel, next week's the Wolf's Den episode, I'll have Ola and Naz from the Fight Week show coming down. Obviously, we'll drop in
nice.
a bit of football and MMA there. And obviously, I'm looking forward to that because I love watching the Fight Week show. Big up to Allah. I was just watching Jez's quiz as well on his stream, and him and Big Kenny shouted me out. I much appreciate it. That's a shout back. Don't forget to catch TJ's stream. It's probably just started now as well. And that is me, and that is Hot Fuzz, and we are out. Unless Hot Fuzzy's got anything to say.
No, I think that's
He's
that's
too
us done for the
upset.
day.
He's too upset. He's too upset. No, when you get a couple of wins under your belt, you get your bottle back, mate. No worries.
I'll be popping champagne bottles and painting my room white.
Excitement. We'll try to keep it PG here, mate. No, I hope you're using paint when it comes to that.
Oh yeah, white paint. Dulux. Dulux paint with that fluffy dog.
I thought you were going to say Dulux the condom. Fair enough.
Well,
That's Durex.
Oh yeah. True that. Yeah.
But dude, it's been an absolute pleasure. Please come back again.
Will do.
All right, and everyone,
Be sure to invite you as well. Got to get you on a show at some point.
I can't wait to talk your ears off. I look forward to it. Anyway, people, we are out.
Salute.
Later.